Okay, so today in this practical session, we try to understand how to determine the thermal conductivity of a composite wall. We all know that what is meant by composite wall. We have discussed in the theory part what is meant by composite wall. If the wall or the slab is made up of two or more different materials, then that particular wall or that particular slab will be considered as a composite wall or composite slab. Okay, so here our aim is to determine the total thermal resistance offered by the composite wall or the composite slab and the thermal conductivity of that particular slab. Okay, total thermal conductivity of that particular slab. So that this is our aim or objective to perform this particular experiment. Okay, so I will not go more in a theoretical part. Directly I will jump to our experimentation details. Okay? So consider we have taken one composite wall. Okay, so not actually one, it is two composite walls. Okay, so here the first plate, you can see that the first plate which is colored by the blue color. Okay, colored by blue color, it is a ms plate. Okay, and having a thickness of a 12 mm. And then this red one is a bakelite material plate. Okay, and having a thickness of 12 mm. And this yellow one is or we can say the green one is there. Okay, green one is a wooden material having a thickness of a 10 mm thickness. Okay, having a thickness of 10 mm. Okay, now similar configuration we have provided on the another side. Okay, on the another side of a heater. Okay, the heater is placed in between two composite slabs. Okay, which having the similar configuration. Okay, so same ms material plate is provided on the another side of a heater. Okay, which is also blue colored shade, and then the bakelite material is also on the another side of the heater. Okay, which is the red color shade, and the green material over here, that is nothing but wooden material. Wooden plate is there, and that same plate we have provided on the another side of a on the another side of a heater. So we can say that each plate are equidistant with respect to the heater. Okay, so this ms plate is equidistant as similarly as that of ms plate on another side. Bakelite plate is equidistant as that of the bakelite plate on the another side, and the wooden plate or wooden material plate is also at equidistance on the another side of the heater. Okay, now here the heater is I have shown by the purple color. By using the purple color, I have shaded this particular heater. Okay, the heater is placed in between two composite walls. So one is on the top side of a heater, and another one is on the bottom side of a heater. Okay, and having the similar kind of materials placed at a equidistance. Okay, having a similar kind of materials placing at a equidistance. So similarly over here, now the heater main function is to convert the electrical energy into heat energy. Okay, now this heat energy will be provided to this two side composite walls. Okay, will be provided to this two side composite wall. Now to provide the heat uniformly, okay, uniformly to this particular composite wall, one plate is introduced over here. Okay, that is nothing but aluminum plate. So above this heater, one aluminum plate of a 6 mm thickness is placed. So why aluminum plate is used? Because the aluminum have a great thermal diffusivity. Okay, so whatever the heat is received from the heater, that will get diffused easily in the aluminum plate or in the aluminum material, and it will be uniformly distributed over the entire surface area, and then it will be provided to our composite wall. Okay, in a similar fashion, one aluminum plate is also provided at the bottom side after that particular heater. Okay, below that particular heater, one aluminum plate is provided, and once again that will take the heat from the heater and diffuse very fastly, as its thermal conductivity is very high, and the thermal diffusivity is also very high. So in that case, the heat will get diffused very fastly in aluminum material, and that will be distributed uniformly over the entire surface area of that particular plate, and it will be next, then it will be provided to the respective composite wall. Okay, then it will be provided, that particular heat will be provided to the respective composite wall. Okay, so that the heat will be provided uniformly to the composite wall. Okay, because of a aluminum plate. Okay, so as the heater is placed at the center, it will provide the heat where it touches to the plate. Okay, where it touches to the plate, but you can see that its width or the length of that particular heater is also very small, or the smaller than the plate thickness or plate length. Okay, plate length, the heater length is very small. So we required one material which will distribute the heat uniformly, and for that reason we are using, after the heater, above the heater and below the heater, we have placed the aluminum plate, and which will do that particular function. Okay, so then the next thing is nothing but, after the aluminum plate, after that particular heater. Okay, this is the heater, and after the heater, aluminum plate is provided, 6 mm thickness aluminum plate is provided, and then our main composite wall will start in the bottom, in downward direction also, and in upward direction also. Okay, now the thermocouples are placed. Okay, thermocouples are placed to sense the temperature at the middle. Okay, at the middle of each plate. Okay, so after the aluminum plate in downward direction, after aluminum plate we have placed first thermocouple, whose nomenclature is T1. Okay, whose nomenclature is T1, and in similar fashion, the T2 thermocouple is placed above above the heater. Okay, above the heater centrally. Okay, above the heater, all the thermocouples are placed centrally. Okay, that is the main important point. And after aluminum plate, above the heater, one thermocouple is placed, and it is nomenclature, its nomenclature as T2. Okay, so T1 and T2 will have the same configuration, which are equidistant from the heater. Okay, which are equidistant from the heater. So if you say that the same amount of heat will be transferred in a downward direction also and in the upward direction also, because the heater will generate the heat uniformly, and it will be provided in all direction. Okay, so if you say that the amount of heat traveling in a upward direction is equal to the amount of heat traveling in a downward direction, when it will be possible? If the resistance offered for the heat transfer is same. Okay, if the resistance offered for the heat transfer is same. So if you say that this T1 and T2 are equidistant, and which is having the same configuration, that the T1 is placed after the aluminum plate centrally. Okay, and that particular aluminum plate is having the 6 mm thickness in the downward side also, and in the upward side also. So in upward side, T2 is placed centrally after the aluminum plate. Okay, so similarly T3 thermocouple is placed after this particular EMS material. Okay, after this particular EMS material, centrally T3 thermocouple is placed. Okay, T3 thermocouple is placed, and also in upward direction, T4 thermocouple is placed centrally after this particular EMS plate. Okay, after this particular EMS plate. Okay, so we can say that the resistance for T3 and T4 will be the same one. Okay, resistance for heat to reach up to the T3 thermocouple and up to T4 thermocouple will be the same. In a similar fashion, the T5 thermocouple is placed after this particular bakelite plate. Okay, centrally, and the T6 thermocouple is placed in upward direction centrally after this particular bakelite plate. Okay, so this T5 and T6 thermocouples are having the same configuration, or the same thermal resistance. Okay, they are placed equidistant from the central heater. Okay, and after this particular wooden plate. Okay, wooden plate T7 thermocouple is placed, which will measure the end temperature of the wall, which will measure the end temperature wall and the end temperature of that particular wooden plate. Okay, and a similar fashion, in upward direction, T8 thermocouple is placed after the wooden plate or wooden material plate centrally. Okay, which will also measure the end temperature of upper side composite wall, upper side composite wall. Okay, so here we have to consider the specification, that is nothing but EMS material plate on the either side having the thickness of 12 mm, then bakelite material plate on either side having the thickness of 12 mm, and wooden plate on either side having a thickness of 10 mm. Okay, and these plates are a circular one. Okay, these plates are circular one, and the plate diameter is 270 mm. Each plate diameter is 270 mm. Okay, thickness is known to you. Then the plate geometry is known, that is nothing but the plates are circular one, and it is having the diameter of a 270 mm. Each plate is having the diameter of a 270 mm. Then further, heater is placed in between the two composite walls. Okay, and the composite walls are apart from the heater by using the aluminum plate, which is having the 6 mm thickness. So in observation, first of all, we have to take the readings of a voltage and current. Okay, so there will be a dimmer stack provided to you to vary the whole to vary the electric energy provided to the heater, and we have to take the readings of voltage and the current by using voltmeter and ammeter. That will be the first observation for you. Then second thing is nothing but the thickness of composite wall. Total thickness of one side composite wall is 34 mm. Okay, 12 mm MS plate, 12 mm bakelite plate, and 10 mm wooden plate. So addition will be equal to 34 mm. Now the radius of the slab will be 135 mm. So that is nothing but already we have discussed 270 mm diameter of each plate. Each plate is having 270 mm diameter. So the slab radius, the radius of each slab or each plate will be equal to 135 mm. Okay. Then we have to take the observations. So observation, for that reason you require the observation table. So observation table consists of a serial number, time. Okay, when you are starting the reading, that will be considered as a 0 minute or 0 time period, and then after each 5 minute or each 10 minute you have to take the readings. Okay, and we have to take the readings for 8 thermocouples. Okay, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8. But T1 and T2 having equidistance, so most of the time we will get the same readings, T1 and T2 readings. Then T3 and T4 is also having the same resistance, and they have placed the equidistance from the heater. So most of the time we will get T3 and T4 readings are same. Then T5 and T6 similarly, and T7 and T8 similarly. But for more accuracy, we have to take these readings 2 times. Okay, for more accuracy or more precise calculation, we have to take these readings 2 times. But if you miss one of the reading out of these 2 or out of these 2 or out of these 2 or out of these 2, then also no problem. You can consider the reading of T1 for the T2 also, and T3 reading for the T4 also, T5 reading for the T6 also, T7 reading for T8 also. Okay, so what will happen, the thermocouples are not performing well if they are not used for long time period. Okay, so there will be possibility that some of the thermocouples may get not may function will not function properly, and in that case there is no difficulty to take the readings, as we know that most of the times these thermocouples will provide you the same reading. So that will be the consideration for the observation table. Okay, then we have to do the calculation for, first of all, heat input. Okay, how much amount of heat is provided to the heater? So that will be equal to Q. Q is equal to V multiplied by I. Okay, V multiplied by I. Now next we have to find out the heat flux. Okay, so Q will be equal to V multiplied by I. Now consider this diagram. Okay, consider this diagram. Heater is placed centrally, and we have provided the heat input to this heater. So that heat input will be considered as a Q. But the amount of heat transferred in a upward direction, how much amount of heat transferred in a upward direction? Okay, so that will be equal to Q by 2. Okay, total amount of heat transferred generated by the heater will be considered as Q, and out of that, half of the amount of heat will be considered as transferred in upward direction, and half of the heat will be considered as transferred in a downward direction. Why we have done this particular configuration? Because if you remove out this bottom side configuration, okay, then half of the heat will be transferred to the environment, okay, and our calculation will not be correct one. So in that case, we'll not come to know that how much amount of heat is transferred to the environment and how much amount of heat is transferred to the composite wall. So for that reason only, we have provided the same configuration of a composite wall on the both the side, and we are assuming that the half of the heat is transferred by the heater in upward direction, and half of the heat is transferred by the heater in a downward direction. Okay, so if further calculation, if you consider for one of the slab only, or one of the composite wall only, then also no issue. But here we have taken both the composite slabs, so we have taken the readings for the 8 thermocouples. Okay, then next, according to this heat flux transferred in upward direction or downward direction, we know that heat flux is nothing but heat transfer rate per unit area. Now one side heat transfer rate is Q by 2. Okay, one side total heat transfer is Q, that is nothing but V by I, and amount of heat transferred in upward direction for the upward composite wall will be considered as Q by 2, and amount of heat transferred in a downward direction or for the downward side composite wall will be considered as a Q by 2. So in that case, the heat flux, that is nothing but heat transfer rate per unit area, will be given as small q will be equal to Q by 2 divided by A, where area will be considered for the perpendicular surface area for the flow of heat. Okay, in conduction we are considering the perpendicular surface area for the direction of flow of heat. Okay, so if you consider here in this particular diagram, so direction of flow of heat is vertical one and in the downward direction. Okay, and which area is perpendicular to this particular direction? Okay, that is nothing but the surface area of that particular plate, okay, or that particular composite slab will be considered as a perpendicular surface area. Okay, so for the circular geometry, the surface area will be considered as pi by 4 multiplied by d square. So here the diameter is known to you or the radius is known to you, so you can calculate the surface area. Then further we have to take the mean temperatures. So mean temperatures means the addition of this T1 and T2 will be considered as mean temperature. Okay, average of T1 plus T2 divided by 2, that will be considered as TA. Okay, average of T1 and T2 will be considered as TA. Average of T3 and T4 will be considered as TB. Average of T5 and T6 will be considered as TC, and average of TD, T7 and T8 will be considered as a TD. Okay, so that will provide you the 4 temperatures: TA, TB, TC, TD. Okay, but we required only overall temperature difference. So overall temperature difference means what? What is the initial temperature for the slab minus what is the final temperature of the slab? So initial temperature is nothing but TA. Okay, so T1 and T2 are the nearest thermocouple temperature for the heater. So initial temperature will be considered as a TA, and final temperature will be considered as a TD. Okay, so the wooden end side temperature, wooden temperatures after wooden material, whatever the thermocouples are there, so that temperature will be considered as a TD temperatures, T7 plus T8 divided by 2. Okay, so we know that how to determine the conduction, how to determine the heat conduction. Okay, that is nothing but Q conduction is equal to overall temperature difference divided by total thermal resistance will provide you the Q conduction. Okay, that will provide you the Q conduction or heat transfer rate in a conduction. Okay, now according to our configuration, the initial temperature minus final temperature is nothing but the overall temperature difference. So TA is the initial temperature and TD is the final temperature, and R total will be considered as a total thermal resistance. But in our case, Q will be considered as Q by 2, okay, as half of the heat is traveling in upward direction and half of the heat is traveling in the downward direction. So we have to consider a Q by 2. So it will be equal to Ta minus Td divided by R total. Q by 2 is equal to Ta minus Td divided by R total. So we know Ta after the observation table, we know the Ta, we know the Td, okay, we know Q. So only unknown is nothing but R total. So R total can be determined, that is the total thermal resistance offered by the composite slab or the composite wall. So R total will be equal to Ta minus Td divided by Q by 2. And next, that will be the first finding out of this particular experimentation, that is nothing but R total. And the next finding will be nothing but the total thermal conductive resistance, conductivity, the total thermal conductivity for the composite slab, and that will be determined by considering our Fourier's law, that is nothing but Q is equal to minus K multiplied by A multiplied by dt divided by L. Now here in our case, Q will be considered as a Q by 2, okay, Q by 2, that is nothing but Q is V multiplied by I, and Q by T will be considered as whatever the value we are getting after multiplying voltage and current divided by 2, that will be your Q by 2, and it will be equal to minus K multiplied by A multiplied by dt divided by L, that is nothing but temperature gradient. So we can modify this equation. If you take this A on this side, we will get Q by 2 divided by area. Q by 2 divided by A is nothing but heat flux, okay, and after taking this, we have to calculate the K composite, means what, the thermal conductivity of a composite wall. Different materials we are considering, but the thermal conductivity of combined wall or the combined wall thermal conductivity will be considered as a K composite multiplied by overall temperature difference Ta minus Td divided by L. Here L will be considered as the total thickness of that particular slab, that is nothing but 12 mm plus 12 mm plus 10 mm, that will be equal to 34 mm. So L will be equal to 34 mm, and then we calculate the K composite as Q multiplied by L divided by Ta minus Td, and that will be our final answer. Okay, getting? Okay. Is there any problem, any question in this particular explanation of experiment number 2? Is there any problem, any question? Okay. So wait for 2 minutes. I'm going to the lab for the experimentation purpose. I will show you the actual performance of or demo of actual performance. खिडकी हे करा, लाईट लावल्यावर दिसतंय. वडवड whether it is visible to you instrument, please let me know. Sachin,
Yes, sir.
दिसतंय व्यवस्थित?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will open this particular part. Okay. So this is the composite wall. Okay, so you can see here this is the heater wire, and the heater is placed in between two aluminum plates. Okay, and these white plates are nothing but the aluminum plates, which is having the 6 mm thickness. Now the first of all, the heat will be transferred to this aluminum plate, and aluminum is having higher thermal diffusivity. Also it is also having the higher thermal conductivity, so it will receive the heat from the heater and it will get diffused and it will transfer to the next slab of that particular composite wall. Okay, so here you can see that first blue colored is nothing but a EMS plate, second red color is nothing but the bakelite plate, and third green color is nothing but the wooden plate. Same configuration is placed in upward side of that particular aluminum plate or the heater, and on the downward side of that particular aluminum plate and the heater. Okay, now here these wires you can see that, so these are the thermocouples placed centrally after each plate. Okay, and the numbers are provided on this particular wire. Okay, one you can see here, one number. So one, it is placed after the aluminum plate, and in between aluminum plate and the first plate, that is nothing but EMS plate. In a similar fashion, the two number you can see over here. So two number is placed in a downward side after the aluminum plate and before the MS plate, before the MS plate. So 1 and 2 will have the same resistance and the same configuration. So most of the time you will get the same temperature for 1 and 2. But to increase the accuracy, we have to consider this both the temperatures, and then we have to take the average out temperature of that two thermocouples. Okay. Further, now these thermocouples are connected to the temperature indicator over here. The thermocouples are connected to the temperature indicator, and there are 8 temperature indicators. So by using this particular knob, we can check the temperature of each thermocouple. Okay. Now in the last lecture also, last practical also, we have discussed about the thermostat, voltmeter. Okay, thermostat, voltmeter, and diameter. Okay, by varying the thermostat, okay, we can change the reading of here, whatever the voltage we are providing to the heater, that particular voltage can be varied, and similarly the ammeter reading will also get varied. Okay, so here now I have maintained this at voltage of 50 volt and current of 0.444 ampere. Okay, and before starting this particular readings, before starting to take the readings, first of all you have to know that what should be started. Okay, first of all the main switch will be started, then here there is another main switch is provided for this particular experiment. Okay, then it should be on. Okay, then heater switch is provided over here. So if you move it in downward side, so it will be get on. Then fuse is also provided, so if any problem will happen, it will disconnect the main electricity supply to this particular instrument. Okay, so in this manner this setup is there. Now how to take the reading, that is the most important part, and when to stop the reading and which reading we need to consider as a final reading, that is also another part. Okay, so I have started this instrument from last half an hour. Okay, now and first of all we have to manage the voltage and current. Okay, first of all we have to manage voltage and current. Initially I have placed it at a 50 volt, but due to the fluctuation in load coming from MSCB side, the voltage is varying from in the range of 50 to 55. But whatever the reading you are you can see at this moment, so that reading we have to consider. Okay, so you can take the reading as voltage for 55 and ammeter reading as 0.474. Okay, then the temperature indicator readings we have to consider. So first T1 temperature. Now this knob is there. Okay, knob is there, you can see here, and this arrow is showing directing towards first thermocouple. Okay, arrow is directing towards the first thermocouple, so it is showing the reading of a T1 thermocouple. Okay, and it is equal to 46 degrees Celsius. If you move this knob on the second, but second thermocouple is not working, so you can consider the T1 temperature for as a T2 temperature also. Then you move this knob to the third. 1 minute. Okay, T3 thermocouples. Now T3 and T4 have having position equidistance from the heater. So T3 is showing 47 degrees Celsius. T4 is showing 45 degrees Celsius. Then next T5 is showing 41 degrees Celsius. T6 is showing 41 degrees Celsius. Okay. T7 is showing 38 degrees Celsius. And T8 is also, it is not working. So we can consider the T7 reading for the T8. Okay, T7 reading for the T8. So T7 is 38. So we can consider the reading of T7 as the reading of T8. Okay, as both the thermocouples are placed equidistance from the center position. So we can consider the T7 reading. Okay, actually we are taking the average out. So 38 plus 38, we will take as the 38 only. Okay, so this is the first reading, and we have to perform this experiment for steady state temperature. Okay, or steady state condition means what? The temperature will not change with respect to time, so that will be nothing but a steady state condition. Okay, here whatever the readings you are getting, if this reading will be repeated after next 5 minutes, then we have to consider that reading as a final reading. Okay, up till that particular moment, we have to continuously take the reading after each and every 5 minutes. Okay, after each and every 5 minutes. Okay, is there any doubt, any question? Now here the assembly is we have to consider this assembly as there is no internal resistance or no thermal contact resistance. You know that if there is gap between two walls, then we may face the temperature drop in between two walls. Okay, so that temperature fall will be because of the contact resistance, thermal contact resistance, and to minimize this thermal contact resistance, we have to provide the means what uh, it is a ramp up, or we can say that the pressure is applied, force is applied on from the top side, so that we should feel, or there should be minimum error because of a thermal contact resistance. There should be a minimum resistance for the thermal contact resistance. Okay, so here once again we will take this reading after 2 minutes, and we'll check whether we are getting the final reading or not. Sachin, please reply me, Sachin.
Yes, sir.
You note down the readings. Okay. So
Okay,
take,
sir.
first voltage, take 50 volt. It is fluctuating still. We will take the 50 volt because initially we have adjusted to the 50 volt. So take voltage as a 50 volt.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then ammeter reading 0.4455. Okay. Or 454. Any.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Then T1. Prepare one table, small table, T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8.
Okay. T146.
Okay, T1 40. T2 same. Take 46 only. T3 45.
45.
Okay. Then T4 46.
46.
Then T5 42.
42.
Then T6 42.
42.
T6 142 is right. Then T7 38.
38.
Okay. And T8 also take 38.
38. Okay.
Okay. So we'll wait for 2 to 3 minutes and then we will take the next reading. And if it match with the initial reading, we'll consider as a steady state reading. Actually, the input supply is not constant. Because of that, it may fluctuate. It is varying continuously. Sachin, what voltage we have considered? 52.
Sir, 50 voltage.
50 only, na? Right na?
50 only.
So take current 0.434 in that case.
0.437.
Okay, 437. Take it. 0.437. Another reading. Take Sachin, take T1 as 47.
47.
Okay. One minute. Okay. Okay. T1 as 47. T2 also 47. Take 47 only.
47.
Okay. Then T3 46.
46.
T4 46.
46. Same.
T5 42.
42.
43. 43. T5 43. T6 42. 43. T6 also 43.
Same.
And T7 39.
39.
Yes.
T8.
Okay, we'll take final reading once again. Okay. So the changing 47. T1 47. Sachin.
47.
Huh. T3 46. T2 also take 47 only. Okay.
Okay.
And T1 and T2 47. T3 46.
46.
T4 46.
46.
T5 43.
43.
T6 43.
43.
Okay. And T7 39.
39.
And T8 also 39. So please check whether it is matching with the previous reading or is there any change with the two number reading.
So it is matching.
It is matching. Okay. So if when it is happening that the next reading is matching with the previous reading, okay, or the current reading is matching with the previous reading, then the final reading will be considered for the calculation purpose. Okay, and final reading will be considered as a steady state reading. Okay, because we on that basis we can conclude that the temperature further will not vary with respect to time. Okay, and that reading will be considered as a final reading. Okay, because here there is a fluctuation in input supply. Okay, input supply to the heater, so it will be fluctuate continuously in between 1 to 2 degree. Okay, so for that reason we have to consider the reading, that whether it is varying in a stipulated range or it is varying lot many time, so that we have to consider. But here the variation is because of input supply to that particular heater. Okay, so it will vary 1 or 2 degree in between, but that also accommodated. But most of the time if you get the next reading is matching with the previous reading, then the final reading should be considered as the steady state reading, and that reading will be considered for the calculation purpose. Okay, so we'll move ahead for the table, observation table and calculation. Okay, so I will stop this presentation for experimentation, and I will go to my PC for further calculation purpose. In meanwhile, if you have any doubt, any question, then you can ask. My screen is visible to everyone now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sachin, tell me, observation.
Yes, sir.
Voltmeter reading 50.
50. Ammeter reading.
Ammeter reading
0.437.
437. Okay. Okay, that will be the observation. Then tell me the first reading. I will write here 0.0 minute or else 0 minute. Okay. Okay. So T1, first reading. Tell me the first reading.
46.
46.
46. T1. 40. T2. 46.
T2 46.
T3.
T3
T3. 45.
45. T4
T4. 46. 46.
42.
46,
46. T4 46. T5
42,
42. T6
42,
42. T7
38,
38 and T8 also 38.
also 38.
Okay. Then after for 5 minutes. Okay. 5 minute reading. T1
T1
second reading.
47,
47.
T2 also
47.
47,
T3
T3 46,
46. T4
46,
46. T5
43,
43. T6
again 43,
43. T7
39,
39. And T8 also 39, right?
39. Yes, right.
Okay, 10-minute reading, third reading. Okay, tell me the 10-minute reading.
47, T1,
47. 47. Then T3
46,
46. T4 also 46.
as like above.
T5 43.
Yes, sir.
43. And T7 39.
39,
39. Now
39.
concentrate here. We are getting a 5-minute reading. Similar reading we are getting for a 10-minute. Okay. So here the temperature is not changed. Okay. 47, 47, 47, 47, 46, 46, 46, 46, 43, 43, 43, 43, 39, 39, 39, 39. So for a particular position, for the particular thermocouple, temperature is not changing with respect to time. Okay, because we are getting the same reading for the 5 minute and for the 10 minute. So in that case we can consider this particular last reading as a final reading, because we have achieved the steady state condition, so then we have to move forward for the calculation. Okay, so first calculation, heat input Q is equal to V multiplied by, so V is 50 multiplied by I is 0.437. 0.437. Okay, anybody do calculation for this and tell me the value of a Q. Then next,
21.85.
how much?
21.85.
21.85.
85.
Okay, this will be in a watt. Then heat flux. Okay, first and for that reason we required area, pi by 4 multiplied by d square. Take d as 0.270. Okay, that is in meter, because in here we know that 270 mm. Okay, divided by 1000. D is 270 divided by 1000, and calculate area. First of all, calculate area, then we will do Q by 2, and then we will divide it by area. And then next we will get Q. Q is equal. Okay, first of all, calculate area, how much it is, pi by 4 multiplied by d square. D take 0.270. And then calculate Q, small q. Small q is equal to Q by 2 divided by area. And capital Q is 21.85. So divided by 2 and then divide by area. So that will give you the small q. Okay.
So the area is equal to 0.057.
0. Okay. Someone.
057.
Okay. 0.05725. Right. Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay, then Q, tell me the Q value. Small q by 2 divided by area. Practical. Practical.
190.82.
190.82.
82. Yes, sir. 82.
82, and that will be the watt per meter square. Okay, watt per meter square. Then TA will be the average of T1 and T2. So T1 is for in the final reading, we have to consider only the final reading. So average of 47 and 47, it will be the 47 only, 47 degrees Celsius. Okay. Then TB is the average of T3 and T4. So T3 is also 46 and T4 is also 46. So TB will be 46 only, right? Average, if you take the average. Then T5 plus T6. T5 is 43, T6 also 43. So average will be the 43 only. Okay. And T7 and T8 in the final reading, it is 39. So average will be the 39 only. Okay, 39. Now we have to calculate the total thermal resistance of a composite wall. And we know that Q conduction is equal to TA minus TD divided by R total. And in our case, Q we have considered as a Q by 2. So that the R total equation will be equal to R total is equal to T minus TD divided by Q by 2. That is nothing but overall temperature difference divided by heat input to that particular slab. Okay, for one slab heat input is Q by 2. So we have to take the Q by 2 as a heat input for the slab. So TA minus TD. TA is the initial temperature. TA is 47, 47 minus, and final temperature TD is the 39, 39 divided by Q by 2. Q is 21.85, 21.85 divided by 2. Okay, and that value after calculation you will get the total thermal resistance. Total thermal resistance. So do calculation and find out total thermal resistance.
0.73.
0.73. Okay, so this is first finding for this particular experiment. Then we have discussed that Q is equal to minus K multiplied by A multiplied by dt divided by L. Then in our case we have to consider Q by 2 for one slab, which is equal to minus K multiplied by A multiplied by dt divided by L. Now we are considering this particular equation for complete slab or the for complete composite wall. So thermal conductivity will be considered as a K composite. Okay, for total wall thermal conductivity we have to consider, and the dt, that is nothing but overall temperature difference, is Ta minus Td, and L will be considered as a total thickness of that particular slab. So by considering this, the K composite will be equal to small q, that is nothing but heat flux that we have calculated, multiplied by total thickness of that particular slab whole divided by Ta minus Td. Okay, and if you put up all the values, then Q is Q calculated, we have calculated that value 0.05725, 0.05275, right now 0.05725, 725. Okay, multiply by L 34 mm, yani 34 multiply by 10 to the power minus 3. And L, no, this is L. We have TA is 47 minus 39. 47 minus 39. Okay, calculate K composite.
2.43 into 10 raised to minus 4.
40
2.43
2.43
into 10 raised to minus 4.
into 10 raised to minus 4. Okay. Into 10 to the power minus 4. Okay. So this will be the value in a watt per meter degree Celsius. Okay. So that will be your final value. So here I think so something. This is right value. Please check once again. Minus 4, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. So you'll get 2.43 multiplied by 10 to the power minus 4 watt per meter degree Celsius as a K composite. Okay, right, great. So these two values are our outcome out of this particular uh, experiment. And finally, you have to write the result uh, thermal resistance of composite wall is 0.73 and thermal conductivity of composite wall is directly take this. Okay, so in this manner you have to write the result. Okay, that's it about the experiment number 2. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask. Is there any doubt? Everyone understood how to perform the experiment and how to perform the calculations related to the experiment? Okay, so that's it about the experiment number 2. If you have any doubt, any question, you can ask. I will share this particular document. You have to write this much only. Okay, in your experiment, second number experiment, whatever I will share, that much only you can write, and you can finish up this experiment. Okay, if you have any doubt, any question, you can ask, or else just put up your roll numbers in the chat box and you can leave. Remaining students, please put up your roll numbers in the chat box and you can leave.